The very fact that word overwhelming is happening again and again. If anybody has not felt overwhelmed by the commentary of these two shlokas, uh, he should seriously check his antakaran. The entire commentary of Bhagavad Gita by Gurudeva is commentary par excellence. But I'm sure the morning when this particular commentary was dictated, and these points do keep coming in his commentaries again and again, these two shlokas again is an occasion where Gurudeva is not only that he was at sub supramental level, but something so beautiful, so divine has come out from him that it would be utterly a shortcoming on our part if we do not do justice to what he has said. But unfortunately, in 20 minutes, I'm supposed to do justice to this. This, I believe, is an injustice. The reason why I feel so is not because there is a time paucity, but because so much has been said by him while saying whatever he has said. So we will try to see whatever possible in the given time. The Vachyartha is something which we'll focus in the beginning, and then how Gurudev brings out the or plucks the flowers of essence from this and weaves it into a wonderful philosophy without losing any time touch with the Vedas. So that is the beauty of craft making of Gurudeva. The third mantra starts with word Klaibyam, and Klaibyam is importance, as Gurudeva has said. Klaibya word has come from a word called Kilbisha. Klaibyam is a Visheshana, like Kilbisha. Kil is a Kirti, and Bisham is Bidam, to break. Anything that shatters the Kirti is called Klaibya. And what is the Kirti that somebody has? It is his potency. Arjuna, the archer par excellence, archery or Yodha was his fame, was his Kirti. And that itself was now getting shattered. That is why Klaibyam, the importance. Bhagavan is saying, don't go or don't yield to the importance. Na etatvai upapaddate. This pada, your pada is very high as a Yodha. This one, Klaibyam, doesn't go close to that pada. Upanishad, Upa is a upasarga, which means close, nearby. Na etatvai upapaddate. This does not befit you, comes close to your fame as the archer. Kshudram Hridaya Daurbalyam. The word Kshudram, as it appears in Vedas, it originally meant anything that flows. Usually the water was also referred as Kshudram. But the reason why water was referred there as Kshudram, because water always flows downwards. Later on, as the time advanced, the word Kshudra started being looked as something which is downfall. Because water falls down, so downfall was considered as Kshudram. Kshudram, that means it is going down. What is going down? Rudaya Daurbalyam. Rud, the Shabda Rud, originally in Vedas came for Buddhi. So Rud as a Rudayan heart or the modern heart, etc. These are all later developments. They are by relevance, the word has come as Rudaya, but Rud means Buddhi. So Rudaya Daurbalyam would mean Buddhi Balahinata. Buddhi Balahinata. Tyaktva, leave that Buddhi Balahinata, which is a Kshudra in your case, Uttishta. Uttishta means what? Uttishta presupposes that you are Adhotishta. You have already gone down. Kshudram, you've gone down. Uttishta. Ut. Ut means go up, and Tishta. Ucharana. No Uchara. You are not supposed to move because Tishtatha is the sthiti. Uttishta. Utho, get up. From where? From Adho. So that means the journey when you are into the materialistic world, adhotishtati, would be to move from adho to ut. That is the reason why first niche se upar chalo, from adho to ut, and then thereafter jagruta. Jagruta uttishta no. Uttishta. Uttishta means first abandon what you think you are. Go to the other place and then find out what is there. That is jagruti. नहीं पहले मैं जागृति करूंगा फिर उठूंगा. Not possible. Why? Jagruti is possible only when you are in the vicinity of that place where you are supposed to be awakening. उठना स्वर्ग में है, रह रहे हो जमीन पे, सो जागृति जमीन पे नहीं आ सकती. जमीन से उठ और कहां चल? स्वर्ग में चल. So similarly, उठ, get up from your place. A Sufi beautifully says, अकल के मदरसे से उठ, इश्क के मैकदे में आ. You are in that akal ka madrasa because you feel you are well read shlokas and mantras and whatnot, and the vanity and darpa and whatnot. That is, and not only that, the very delusion mudhata, which is because of your avidya, get up from there. And for that getting up itself is sadhana. Then through sadhana, once you get up and go there, you will automatically become aware of that world. That world which is initially Paralaukika. Then again from there you move forward to Alaukika. So Laukika to Paralaukika, Paralaukika to Alaukika. That is how you uttishta. And then the reason, because you are yourself what? Parantapaha. Paranam taptati. That which is not yours, you can burn them. That is what your fame is. That is why your name is Parantapa. One who scorches the foes. Who are the foes? Foes are not yours. They are others. They are itar. They are not you. That means if they are para, that means I'm staying right now as egocentric individual is in paralok. This is not my loka. This is not my place. That means I have to destroy this, what is called as param, otherness, and be what I am. The one who is expert in doing that is what your name is, Parantapa. And you are talking about all this. That is the vachartham of the mantra. Gurudeva, I do not know what part of Gurudeva I truly feel that had Gurudeva been around and he's around me, I would take both his padukas on my head and dance with ecstasy for at least an hour for what he has written here. Everything that is written, forget from a very mundane level of a language called English to the ecclesiastical heights to which Gurudeva's narration has gone, this is not from a human mind, for sure. Anyway, it is not from human mind. All those Balaji has described, Manishji has described beautifully. They have picked those points where Gurudev has excelled in English. You know, every word is a chosen missile, a pounding hammer. A pounding hammer, because a false interpretation of the words requires a pounding hammer. It cannot be done by it is not a smooth affair. Ek janam ka ho, so fine, you may just unpeel it. Just take the peel out. Fine, it's for ekad janam. Hazaro janam ka, thousands of births I'm carrying this so-called avidya with me. Unless it is hammered out, that is why tivra sadhana. Hammering out is tivra sadhana. And then for hammering, you require a hammer. Now, if you require a hammer which you don't have, you are asking it to the person who has it, who is a Lord. Then to the Lord, can you say, Lord, please give me a silk cloth because I want to remove the hardened surface on my head? You have to ask for a hammer. In fact, what is required, he knows best. That is why he gives it to the person, but he gives it only to whom? Only to the one who has felt the need of it. Feel the need that you need to change. Feel the need. And this is why Gurudeva, when it comes to this third, fourth paragraph, the entire paragraph can be commented for at least 2 to 3 hours easily. Gurudev says, we are arguing and asserting our maturity as intellectual beings. Now, one has to be very careful. What is he saying here? We are arguing and asserting as intellectual beings. So that means he says we call ourselves intellectual beings. And then we came to the end of the paragraph where he says a soul identifying with the intellect can seek and discover. इधर भी इंटेलेक्ट है, उधर भी इंटेलेक्ट है. एक इंटेलेक्ट को बुरा कहा है, and one intellect is said bad, another intellect said is good. How Gurudev can contradict himself? यहाँ पे that is the place where the hidden things are there. When the intellect is used for arguing and asserting, argue and assert कब होता है? When you feel you have something to argue and something to assert. Assert वो करता है जिसको assertion के लिए he feels he is the competent person. What else is there which argues and asserts other than the ego? At what level? When you do not know the entire creation, you are a minuscule part of the creation. That is the time you feel you know everything. And the time when you know everything in this world, you feel you know nothing. See the contradiction. This is the biggest paradox that we have. जो जीवन मुक्त है, जो ब्रह्मैव है, उनको पूछो आपको सब कुछ मालूम है? They say I don't know. And the one who is a minuscule part of this universe, not even having a periphery of a small vesti around him, he is trying to claim that I know everything. That is called as egoistic assertion. Egoistic assertion, when it is there as intellectual being means jiva. When intellect forms jiva and starts asserting through ego and arguing, that is the time then you cannot get the Lord. But in case if you surrender all this so-called intellect, and when will you surrender? When you will come to know that you are good for nothing. Why good for nothing? The medha that you require to understand. That is why Vidya Mati Shruti. In Rigveda there is a word called Vidya Mati Shruti. Vidya is Veda. Whatever is written in Veda is Vidya. Mati, the one which can do mananam of Shruti, is called Mati. And after knowing Vidya and Mati, then comes Buddhi. Vidya Mati Buddhi. And what is Buddhi? Shrutinam Matye Mananaya Buddhihi. One who does manan on the Vedas gets the intellect converted into Buddhi. That Buddhi is referred into the last statement where Gurudeva says, a soul identified with the intellect can seek and discover itself. But when it identifies with the mind, it needs the help of guidance of Lord. मतलब एक में guidance लगता है, एक में नहीं लगता. How is it possible? Swamiji is directly coming to Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga versus Bhakti Yoga. If your Swabhava is more towards ill appreciation of higher truths, because the intellect cannot be projected to that level through either the abhyasam of Raja Yoga or Jnana Yoga, then, or Sankhya Yoga as it is described here, then you come down to Bhakti Yoga, because then if you're working through mind, because without mind you can't, because you don't have the capacity to go beyond the mind. You have the only way you can think of this world is through mind. Then do one thing, use the same mind for the Lord, and for that you will not be able to do it alone. You need to ask the favor and blessings of the Lord, and that is exactly the Bhakti Yoga when the God comes for the help. But then when he comes for the help, do not expect him to come in the manner Gurudev says, like a refreshing shower. He will come like an avalanche. When he comes like an avalanche, then what happens? You are first shattered. Shattered in what sense? When the father finds the child in a pub at the age of 12 or 13, he doesn't say that please come home. He gives a tight slap, pulls him from there. And then what happens? In later life, we always remember, मुझे ऐसा मारा था, आज तक भूला नहीं हूँ, तब से फिर मैंने कभी भी बाद में गलत काम नहीं किया. What is that? That is because अगर if the same child has also deviated, but deviated where he is little late from the tuition because he kept gossiping with his friend. That time the father doesn't beat. He says, आगे से late मत करना, हाँ? Because the mistake is small. हम लोगों की मिस्टेक नहीं, हमारे ब्लंडर भी नहीं, हमारे क्राइम है. तो क्रिमिनल को पुलिस कभी नहीं बोलती कि आगे से आप चोरी मत करना, मर्डर मत करना, तो वो बोलती अंदर आ जाओ, हम आपको हमारा हिसाब किताब दिखाते हैं. Lord exactly does that, because that puts this, there is something called ECT in psychiatry, electroconvulsion, that is called shock therapy. Electric shocks are given. Why they are given? because the stage has come where you need to reset the circuit. So to do that, the Lord does the same thing. And that is why soft words of sympathy could not have revived Arjuna's drooping mind to the vigor. Unfortunately, we always want God to empathize. Bhagwan, मैंने ऐसा ऐसा किया है, so please help me, please, please. Because you do all kind of mistakes and crimes in the world, and then you want God to empathize with you. You use different logic in your daily life as a man, and you use a different logic when it comes to God. कि I may do, मैं कुछ भी करूं, आप मुझे ना आराम से ना एकदम माँ की तरह ना, that cannot happen. This is against the tarka. This is kutarka. The tarka is crime की जितनी extent है उतना punishment मिलेगा. So that is why in such cases the only way is to admit and surrender कि भगवान मैंने बहुत गुनाह किया है, अब नहीं करूंगा. And now you make me, ab nahi karunga, sure. And then the Lord says, okay, let me make you better person by thaka toki. Why do you think most of the gods have a mace in the hand? That mace is basically for this head. So ek padta hai, Gurudev ne in one of the adhyayas is given so beautifully that he gives a solid beating with the mace that we require. And that is why a Sufi says, ye intellect to intellect ki baat mat kar. Ilm bas kariyo yaar. एक अलिफ तेरे दरकार. बुल्ले शाह says, ये नॉलेज वॉलेज की कोई बात नहीं है. भाव बड़े आकड़े एरवी नाकड़े करतड़ी आवड़े तैसा ही. तो Karamara says, like a amla on the palm, he will come and sit in your heart, provided you have the bhav, the mind dedicated to him. That means you have to give up your ego. Gurudev is again and again harping on the ego, and that being the reason, खुद को ना देखना है तुझे देखने की शर्त. That is what Sufi says. Bulle Shah again says, you feel you are winning a lot in this world. Actually, you are losing. Jeet jeet ke umar guzari, hu to har fakira. Jeete da mul char kodiya, hare da mul hira. When you surrender there, you have to accept the defeat here. Yahan pe haro, wahan pe jeeto. That is why Gurudev has, even Uttishthar has given reference to the Bible by Job. The reason being, the Job is nothing else but the priests or one of the preachers or the prophets that have been described in Bible. We know there are two types of Bible: the Bibles of Hebrew Bible, which is called Tanakh, and the Christian Bible, which is Old Testament. So the first poetic part of the Bible is this book of Job. In this book of Job, in fact, this Job is also the same prophet which is described in Quran as Ayub. Ayub and Job are same. So there the word that is given is, it is a dialogue between the Lord and the Job. And the Lord is saying, girdle up now thy loins like a lion, like a man, for I will demand of thee and answer thou me. So this is what Gurudeva has referred. With this backdrop, when we come to the fourth shloka, and Himanshu asked the question, this is the beauty again. Madhusudan and Arisudan, two names of gods in the same mantra, very rarely we get it. But look, in the first one, what has happened is he's saying, Sankhya, can I have war with Bhishma and Drona? Why is he feeling so? That is because he says they are my relations. What has happened? In this world, there is somebody called Arjun, and Arjuna has got relation. Rest of the world doesn't matter to me. And since they are my relations, and relations have created moha in the mind. This is delusion of the mind, moha. And this moha comes from where? That madhu. And the one who slays the madhu, because that madhu demon also, he is so deep in the heart. In the story, he goes down deep in the sea. It is deep in the mind. So in that case, if he is a Madhusudana, so he being that slayer of the Madhu, which is nothing else but the Moha, in the first line he is Madhusudana. But in the second line, Ishu bihi pratiyotsami. Ishu means arrow. Isha and Ishu, they are so close words. One is Shahamrugasha, second is Shataksha. Isha, Lord. Ishu, arrow. The word actually Ishu comes in Rigveda. The meaning there is to go to kill, is Ishu. And since arrow goes to kill, it is called Ishu, Pratiyotsami. In the war, he is not Madhusudana, because war now is with enemies. Enemies are identified. In identified case, enemy is Ari. He is the destroyer of enemy there. So he is Arisudana. And who are the Aris? Shadripus are the Aris. So when Bhishma and when war comes, he's Arisudana. And when the Moha comes, he becomes Madhusudana. Gurudev, while describing the commentary of this, we have hardly 3 minutes left. The commentary, he has given something so critically important from Sankhya's point of view also, that whenever we take a decision or decipher whatever is happening around us individually. That is called Veshti Drushti Kona. Gurudev, as well as Lord here, is telling Arjuna, have Samashti Drushti Kona. Our problem is me, mine, my family, and then the world. So my relationship is like a small tentacle which is attached to a big sphere called world. And that contact point is the only point with the world. We forget that I'm a part of the world. I being the part of the world, I have to behave the way the world wants me to behave. It is not the other way around. We want दुनिया झुकती है, झुकाने वाला चाहिए is the most stupid statement ever said. Because दुनिया नहीं झुकती है, दुनिया आपको झुकाती है. Because you are a part of the cosmos. You are a part of the God's creation. So do what God has asked you to do, not what you feel you should be doing in the God's world. तभी तो problem है. What is our issue? Our issue is we behave as if this world is for me. And I am supposed to do some upkar on the world by behaving I am doing. But that cannot be done. So Veshti Drushti as against Samashti Drushti. That is precisely when he said there is a very subtle point. Even the intellectual people that he had discussion with could not understand this. And that is why Ayam Nijaha Paro Vetti Ganana Laghu Chetasam Udara Charitanam tu Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So that is why this particular statement, even it is inscribed in the entry gate of the Parliament of India. This statement comes from Maha Upanishad from the Rigveda. What it really means is this world of mine has to be abandoned, and the world that is truly there has to be opted as a part of that world. I have to behave. This world has to be abandoned. रहना नहीं देश बिराना है. ये दुनिया कागज की पूरी बूंद पड़े घुल. That's my world. That is why this particular mantra is focusing entirely upon having what is called as a universal vision, Samashti Drushti, as versus Drushti. In other, egoistic vision versus egoless universal Hiranyagarbha Tattva vision.
Hari Om.